Not all words are equal, and not all actions carry the same weight. But when a man chooses to share certain things with you, it's a sign you hold a unique place in his life. High-value women recognize these signs and understand their worth. Today, we'll uncover what a man shares only with someone truly special to him, and how to spot it. 1. His deepest thoughts and fears. A man may seem strong, composed, and unshaken on the surface, but deep down, he carries thoughts and fears that he rarely, if ever, shares with the world. Society often conditions men to be stoic, resilient, and emotionally guarded, making it difficult for them to express vulnerability. However, when a man chooses to open up to you, it is not by accident. It is a sign of deep trust, emotional connection, and a level of intimacy that goes beyond surface-level attraction. Why this matters? Most men do not easily share their deepest fears because they have been taught that vulnerability is a weakness. They have been conditioned to believe that showing doubts, insecurities, or struggles will make them appear weak. So, when he lets down his guard and speaks about his personal battles, it means he sees you as someone he can rely on, trust, and feel safe with. His fears may range from career insecurities, financial struggles, childhood traumas, or even doubts about his own worth. These are things he would never share with just anyone. If he trusts you enough to reveal them, it means you hold a special place in his life. The power of being a safe space. When a man opens up, your response is everything. If you react with judgment, dismissiveness, or try to fix his problems, he may regret sharing and retreat into emotional isolation. However, if you simply listen, validate his feelings, and offer support without trying to control the situation, he will feel deeply connected to you. Heavy checkmark. What to do? Be a calm presence. Sometimes, men don't need solutions, they just need to be heard. A simple response like, "I understand why you feel that way, and I appreciate you trusting me with this," can mean more than any advice. Heavy checkmark. What not to do? Avoid downplaying his emotions or making the conversation about yourself. Instead of saying, "That's not a big deal, you'll be fine," try acknowledging his feelings and giving him space to process them. What this reveals about your connection. A man will never expose his deepest thoughts and fears to someone he doesn't truly trust. This means he sees you as someone emotionally mature, understanding, and significant in his life. When a man shares these vulnerable aspects of himself, it's a sign that you are not just another person in his life. You are someone he deeply values and respects. 2. His ambitions and dreams. A man's ambitions and dreams are not just goals he wants to achieve, they are a reflection of who he is, what drives him, and the future he envisions for himself. When a man shares his dreams with you, it is a significant sign that he sees you as someone important. Someone he trusts with his deepest desires, aspirations, and personal mission. Why this matters? Many men keep their ambitions and long-term goals private because they fear judgment, failure, or lack of support. Society places a heavy burden on men to be providers and achievers, and admitting their aspirations, especially if they feel uncertain about them, can make them feel exposed. If he is willing to talk about his goals, career aspirations, or personal dreams with you, it means he values your opinion and respects your presence in his life. The power of listening and supporting. When a man shares his dreams with you, he is giving you a glimpse into his inner world, the future he wants to build, the impact he hopes to make, and the legacy he desires to leave behind. Your response in this moment is crucial. Heavy checkmark. What to do? Encourage him by showing genuine interest in what he says. Ask thoughtful questions like, what inspired you to pursue this? Or what excites you the most about this goal? Celebrate his vision and remind him that you believe in his ability to succeed. Heavy checkmark, what not to do. Don't belittle or dismiss his dreams, even if they seem far-fetched. Avoid comparing him to others or making him feel like his dreams are not realistic. Don't try to control his vision. Support, but don't dictate. How this strengthens your bond. A man will only share his true ambitions with a woman he trusts and respects. If he sees you as someone who supports his goals rather than questions them, he will feel deeply connected to you. Many relationships fail because a partner doesn't believe in the other person's vision or tries to impose their own expectations. Light bulb high-value insight. A high-value woman does not try to change or control a man's ambitions. Instead, she becomes a source of strength, inspiration, and motivation. Not by pushing him, but by believing in him. When a man knows he has a woman who truly sees his potential and supports his journey, he will hold on to her like no other. 3. His fears of losing you. A man may not always express it openly, but if he truly values you, he will have an underlying fear of losing you. This fear isn't about insecurity or desperation. It's about recognizing your worth and understanding that your presence in his life is something special. Why this matters? Men are often conditioned to appear strong, independent, and emotionally in control, but when they deeply care for someone, the thought of losing that connection can create a powerful emotional response. If a man opens up about his fear of losing you, whether directly or indirectly, it's a sign that he sees you as an irreplaceable part of his life. This fear isn't just about losing you to another man, though that can be a factor. It can also stem from the thought of growing distant over time, the fear that he may not be good enough for you, worries about external circumstances, career, distance, personal struggles, pulling you apart. How he might express this fear. Not all men will say, "I'm afraid of losing you," outright. Instead, they might show it in subtle ways, such as seeking reassurance that you care about him, wanting to spend more quality time with you, expressing concern about your level of interest or engagement in the relationship, making an effort to improve himself to be worthy of you. If a man expresses this fear, it means he values your presence deeply and doesn't take your relationship for granted. How to respond to strengthen your bond. Heavy checkmark, acknowledge his feelings. If he hints at this fear, don't dismiss it. Instead, reassure him that he matters to you. A simple phrase like, "I appreciate everything you do, and I'm happy with you," can go a long way. Heavy checkmark, show consistency. Actions speak louder than words. Show through your behavior that you're committed and invested in him as much as he is in you. Heavy checkmark, encourage open communication. Let him know it's okay to talk about feelings without judgment. This will make your bond even stronger. Why this makes you irresistible. A woman who understands a man's unspoken fears and reassures him without making him feel weak is rare. If he fears losing you, it's because he sees your value, and when you handle this with care, it makes him want to hold on to you even more. Blue heart. 4. His past relationships and lessons learned. When a man opens up about his past relationships, it's not just about sharing history. It's about revealing his emotional journey, his experiences with love, and the lessons that shaped him. Most men do not talk about their past relationships easily unless they feel a deep sense of trust and connection. If he is willing to discuss this with you, It means he sees you as someone special and worthy of knowing the deeper layers of his life. Why this matters. A man's past relationships give insight into his emotional growth, how he has evolved from past mistakes and heartbreaks, his relationship values, what he prioritizes in love and companionship, his fears and insecurities, the wounds or disappointments that still affect him, his expectations, what he seeks in a partner, and what he has learned about compatibility. Most men avoid discussing their past because they don't want to appear weak, vulnerable, or stuck in the past. If he feels comfortable enough to talk about it with you, it means he trusts you with his emotional history, something he may not share with just anyone. How to respond when he shares. Heavy checkmark, listen without judgment. Avoid reacting negatively or making assumptions. Instead, let him express himself freely. If he talks about an ex, it doesn't necessarily mean he still has feelings for her. It could be his way of showing emotional growth. Heavy checkmark, acknowledge his growth. If he shares a mistake he made or a painful breakup, recognize his ability to learn from it. A simple response like, "It's great that you've taken lessons from that experience," shows emotional maturity. Heavy checkmark, don't compare. Avoid comparing yourself to his exes or asking questions that may create insecurity, like, "Was she prettier than me?" Instead, focus on what he values in a relationship today. Heavy checkmark, share your own perspective. If you feel comfortable, reciprocate by sharing what you've learned from your own past relationships. This builds a deeper emotional bond and shows that you're open to growth and understanding. How this strengthens your connection. When a man shares his past relationships and lessons learned, it means he is emotionally available and willing to build something better with you. If you respond with maturity, understanding, and support, he will feel even more drawn to you, knowing that he has found a partner who values growth and deep connection. 5. His personal struggles and failures. When a man opens up about his personal struggles and failures, it's a significant sign that he trusts you deeply. Men are often conditioned to appear strong, self-reliant, and emotionally controlled. Admitting failure or sharing struggles can feel like exposing a weakness. If he shares these parts of his life with you, it means he sees you as someone safe, understanding, and worthy of his vulnerability. Why this matters. A man's struggles and failures reveal more than just challenges. They show his resilience, character, and emotional depth. By sharing these moments, he is letting you see his true self beyond the surface-level confidence or achievements he presents to the world. This is important because it reveals his core values. The way he talks about his struggles shows what he stands for and how he approaches adversity. It shows his emotional availability. If he's comfortable discussing failures, it means he's emotionally mature and not suppressing his feelings. It builds trust and connection. Vulnerability fosters deep emotional intimacy, making your bond even stronger. How he might express this. Not all men will openly say, "I'm struggling" or "I feel like I failed." Instead, they may express it in subtle ways, such as talking about a past mistake and how it affected them, mentioning a time they felt lost or uncertain about their future, expressing frustration over something that didn't go as planned, sharing a fear of not being good enough or disappointing others. If he shares these moments with you, it's because he feels safe and respected in your presence. How to respond and strengthen your bond. Heavy checkmark, listen without trying to fix everything. Men don't always open up expecting solutions. Sometimes they just need to be heard. Instead of giving advice immediately, just listen and acknowledge his feelings. Heavy checkmark. Encourage him without dismissing his struggles. Say things like, "I admire how you keep pushing forward," rather than, "It's not a big deal, you'll get over it." Heavy checkmark. Reassure him of his strength. Remind him that failures don't define him and that he is still worthy and capable. Heavy checkmark. Share your own challenges when appropriate. This helps create mutual understanding and deepens the emotional connection. Why this makes you irresistible to him. Most men rarely find a safe space to express their struggles, and if you provide that without judgment, you become incredibly valuable in his life. He will see you as more than just a romantic partner. You'll be his confidant, his safe haven, and someone he truly trusts. That level of connection makes a man emotionally addicted to you in the best way possible. Blue heart. 6. His unfiltered self. When a man allows you to see his unfiltered, raw, and authentic self, it is one of the biggest signs that you hold a special place in his heart. Most men wear a mask in public, whether it's being strong, confident, or socially polished. But if he drops that mask around you, it means he trusts you deeply and feels emotionally safe. What it means to show his unfiltered self. A man's unfiltered self is the version of him that isn't trying to impress, isn't afraid of judgment, and isn't holding back. It means he's comfortable showing his quirks, odd habits, and silly side. He expresses his true thoughts without fear of being misunderstood. He lets you see his vulnerable side, his fears, insecurities, and doubts. He doesn't feel the need to constantly perform or maintain an image. When he shows up as his true self, it's a sign that he trusts you not just with his heart but also with his identity. Signs he's comfortable being his unfiltered self. Here are some behaviors that show he's letting you in. Heavy checkmark. He's goofy and playful. If he acts silly, cracks weird jokes, or does things he wouldn't do in front of others, he's not trying to impress you, he's just being himself. Heavy checkmark. He shares unpopular opinions. He doesn't just tell you what you want to hear. Instead, he expresses his real thoughts, even if they aren't perfect. Heavy checkmark. He lets his guard down emotionally. He doesn't always try to be the strong guy. He admits when he's scared, insecure, or unsure. Heavy checkmark. He shows his lazy, unpolished side. If he can relax around you, wear whatever he wants, and not feel the need to perform, he feels truly comfortable with you. How to respond and deepen the connection. Backhand index pointing right. Embrace his authenticity. Laugh at his quirks, engage with his real thoughts, and make him feel accepted. Backhand index pointing right. Show your own unfiltered self. If you also let your guard down, it creates an even stronger bond. Backhand index pointing right. Never use his vulnerability against him. If he trusts you enough to open up, make sure he never regrets it. Why this makes you irresistible to him. Most men crave a connection where they can be themselves without fear of judgment. If you create a space where he feels truly accepted, he will never want to let you go. He will see you as not just a partner, but his safe haven, his peace, and his true companion. Attraction fades, but emotional depth lasts. If a man shares these things with you, don't take it lightly. You're not just another person in his life. You hold a place others never will. But here's the secret. A high-value woman never clings to a man's emotions. She simply recognizes her worth and lets the right man rise to meet her level. Speech balloon question for you. Have you experienced a man opening up in these ways? Drop a comment below and let's discuss. bell. Subscribe to Stoic Forge for more insights on high-value women and Stoic psychology.